Everyone thinks they know how LeBron became a billionaire, basketball contracts and endorsements, but his real fortune came from a move so risky that even his closest advisors begged him to stop. 3 other athletes tried this exact strategy. 2 went broke. 1 disappeared completely. This is the story they don't want you to hear. December 30th, 1984. Gloria James gives birth in a rundown Akron hospital. She's 16 years old, broke, and has no idea her son will become the world's first active NBA billionaire. But here's what's crazy. For the first 9 years of LeBron's life, they moved 12 times. 12 different homes before he turned 10. Gloria worked 3 jobs just to keep them alive. McDonald's in the morning, cleaning offices at night, and babysitting on weekends. LeBron remembers going to bed hungry most nights. While other kids worried about homework, he worried about whether they'd have electricity the next morning. The lights got shut off so many times that LeBron started doing his homework by candlelight. But here's the detail that explains everything about LeBron's billion-dollar mindset. While living in a 1-bedroom apartment with no heat, Gloria would take LeBron to the rich neighborhoods of Akron just to walk around. She'd point at the big houses and say, "One day we're gonna live like that. Not if we're lucky or maybe someday." She said, "We're gonna." At 8 years old, LeBron started asking questions that most kids never think about. Why do some people have money and others don't? How do you get from poor to rich? What makes the difference? Gloria didn't have answers, but she planted a seed in his mind that would grow into a billion-dollar empire. Then came the moment that changed everything. Gloria made a decision that every parent fears. She sent her 9-year-old son to live with another family. The Walker family took LeBron in, and for the first time in his life, he had stability. Frank Walker wasn't just giving LeBron a home, he was teaching him how wealthy people think. This is where the billion-dollar mindset was truly born. At St. Vincent, St. Mary High School, something happened that nobody expected. LeBron wasn't just good at basketball, he was destroying kids who were 3 years older. But here's the secret nobody talks about. While other teenagers were playing video games, LeBron was studying business magazines. Frank Walker had a subscription to Forbes, Fortune, and Business Week. While his teammates were reading sports magazines, LeBron was learning about Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Michael Jordan's business empire. He wasn't just reading, he was taking notes. At 15 years old, LeBron had notebooks full of business strategies that most NBA students never learn. His high school games started selling out. Not just the gym, they moved games to the University of Akron Arena because 5,000 people wanted to watch a 15-year-old play basketball. ESPN aired his games on national television. Nike executives were showing up to watch a kid who couldn't even drive yet, but this is where the story gets dangerous. Everyone wanted a piece of LeBron James. Agents were offering his family cars, houses, and cash under the table. The NCAA was watching every move. One wrong decision could have destroyed everything before it started. Here's what most people don't know. LeBron was keeping a secret journal during his senior year. Every offer, every conversation, every promise was written down. He wasn't just a basketball player. He was documenting everything like a business case study. Years later, this journal would become the blueprint for his billion-dollar strategy. Then came the choice that separated LeBron from every other high school superstar in history. While Kobe went straight to the NBA and struggled his first 2 seasons, while other players took the safe college route, LeBron made a decision about his future that was so calculated, so perfectly timed, that it set up his billion-dollar empire 20 years before anyone realized what was happening. June 26, 2003, NBA Draft Night. LeBron gets picked first overall by Cleveland, his home state team. The contract? 4 years, $18.8 million. Sounds like a lot, right? Wrong. This is where LeBron's billion-dollar plan started, and it almost backfired completely. While every other rookie was celebrating their guaranteed money, LeBron was making a move that shocked the entire sports world. He fired his agent. Aaron Goodwin, the same agent who just negotiated his NBA contract. Why? Because LeBron had studied something that terrified him. He'd researched every superstar athlete from the past 20 years. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, all of them made the same mistake. They let other people control their business decisions. They got rich, but they never got wealthy. LeBron understood the difference. Rich means you have money. Wealthy means your money makes money. Rich can disappear overnight. Wealth lasts for generations. At 18 years old, LeBron James was thinking like a billionaire while everyone else was thinking like a millionaire. He decided to bet everything on himself. Instead of taking the traditional endorsement deals that other players accepted, LeBron demanded something nobody had ever asked for before. He wanted equity, not just money, ownership. Nike offered him $90 million over 7 years. Adidas offered $100 million for 10 years. Both deals would have made him rich. But LeBron said no to both. His advisors thought he'd lost his mind. Here's a kid who grew up with nothing, turning down guaranteed generational wealth. Gloria James was in the meeting when LeBron rejected the Adidas deal. She asked him if he was crazy. His response changed everything. "Mom, we're not trying to get rich, we're trying to get wealthy." The decision he made instead was so risky that 3 other players who tried the same thing ended up broke within 5 years. Penny Hardaway tried it and lost everything. Stephon Marbury tried it and never recovered. Allen Iverson tried a version of it and went bankrupt. But LeBron saw something they missed. LeBron took Nike's offer, but with a twist that changed everything. He didn't just want money, he demanded his own signature shoe line, complete creative control, and here's the kicker: a lifetime deal structure that nobody in sports had ever negotiated before. The Nike executives laughed at first. Phil Knight himself was in the meeting. An 18-year-old kid from Akron wanting to tell a billion-dollar company how to run their business? But LeBron had studied something they didn't expect. He knew that Michael Jordan was making more money from his Air Jordan brand than he ever made playing basketball. The difference? Jordan got a piece of the profits. But here's what LeBron figured out that Jordan missed. Jordan's deal was good, but it wasn't great. Jordan got royalties, but Nike kept the majority ownership. LeBron wanted something different. He wanted to own his brand completely after a certain point. Nike could license it, but LeBron would own it. The negotiations took 8 months. Nike threatened to walk away 3 times. LeBron's team threatened to sign with a startup company that promised him 100% ownership from day one. Finally, Nike agreed to terms that nobody in the industry thought were possible. LeBron's final Nike deal wasn't just $90 million. It included royalties, equity stakes, performance bonuses, and a clause that would transfer ownership of his brand to him after 2023. Most lawyers couldn't even understand the contract. It was less of an endorsement deal, and more like a business partnership. But this was only step 1 of his master plan. While other players spent their money on cars and jewelry, LeBron was doing something completely different. He started buying businesses that nobody understood. A small pizza chain called Blaze Pizza when it only had 3 locations, shares in Beats headphones 2 years before Apple bought them for $3 billion. A production company called Spring Hill Entertainment when streaming didn't even exist yet. His friends thought he was wasting his money. Dwayne Wade told him to buy real estate instead. Chris Paul said he should stick to basketball. Sports analysts called him distracted. But LeBron was building something that would make his basketball salary look like pocket change. Every business decision followed the same pattern. Find companies that were small but had massive growth potential, get in early, and wait. But this strategy required something most athletes don't have: patience. The problem? 3 massive failures almost destroyed everything before his patience could pay off. 2010. LeBron makes the decision on national television, leaving Cleveland for Miami. The backlash was unlike anything sports had ever seen. Fans burned his jersey in the streets. Nike's stock dropped 4% overnight. His Q rating, the measure of how much America likes a celebrity, fell lower than any athlete in history. But here's what really happened behind the scenes. LeBron's business partners were panicking. Blaze Pizza locations were closing. Spring Hill Entertainment couldn't get a single meeting in Hollywood. Endorsement deals with smaller companies were being canceled. The decision that was supposed to help him win championships was destroying his business empire. The hate was so intense that LeBron's mother started getting death threats. His house in Akron was vandalized. For 6 months, LeBron couldn't appear in public in Ohio without security, but the real damage wasn't emotional, it was financial. Everything he'd built outside basketball was crumbling. Failure number 2, 2011 NBA Finals. LeBron chokes against Dallas. The criticism wasn't just about basketball. Investors started questioning his judgment. Here's a kid who thought he was smarter than everyone, who demanded control of his business deals, and he just failed on the biggest stage in sports. The business impact was immediate. Potential investors pulled out of meetings. Spring Hill Entertainment lost 3 major projects. Even Nike executives started having private conversations about whether LeBron was worth the risk. His business credibility was destroyed overnight. But the third failure was the one that almost ended everything. In 2013, one of his major business partners, a guy named Randy Mims who managed his investments, was caught in a massive fraud scheme. LeBron had invested millions in companies that didn't actually exist. Real estate developments that were just empty lots, technology startups that were just websites with fake employee profiles. The FBI was investigating. Lawyers were calling every hour. For 48 hours it looked like LeBron James might lose everything he'd worked for. The media was already writing stories about how the kid from Akron got too greedy and lost it all. But what happened next changed the game forever. Instead of playing it safe, instead of retreating back to just basketball, LeBron doubled down on the riskiest bet of his entire life. 2014. While the sports world focused on LeBron returning to Cleveland, something else was happening in complete secrecy. LeBron was about to make the biggest financial gamble in sports history. He took every dollar he'd made from basketball, every endorsement check, every business profit, everything, and bet it all on one investment that Wall Street experts said was financial suicide. He bought into a company that was losing $200 million a year, a company so broken that 3 different billionaires had already walked away. That company? Liverpool Football Club. Americans laughed. Why would a basketball player buy a soccer team in England? Soccer wasn't popular in America. Liverpool hadn't won the Premier League in 24 years. They were in debt, their stadium was falling apart, and their best players kept leaving for other teams. LeBron's own financial advisors begged him to stop. The math didn't work. His investment was $6.5 million for a 2% stake in a team that most experts said was worthless. It was a disaster waiting to happen. But LeBron saw what nobody else did. He wasn't buying a soccer team, he was buying a global brand. Liverpool had 200 million fans worldwide. Manchester United had just been sold for $1.4 billion. If Liverpool could turn things around, LeBron's small investment could become worth hundreds of millions. More importantly, LeBron was learning something that would change his entire strategy. Sports teams weren't just businesses, they were inflation-proof assets that only went up in value over time. No matter how bad they performed on the field, someone would always want to buy them for more money. The Liverpool investment was just the beginning. Over the next 5 years, he quietly bought pieces of everything. Media companies before streaming exploded. His Spring Hill Entertainment became worth $300 million. Cryptocurrency before it went mainstream, he bought Bitcoin at $200 per coin. Real estate in cities that hadn't gentrified yet, he bought buildings in Detroit for $50,000 that are now worth $2 million. But here's the strategy that made him a billionaire. LeBron stopped chasing quick money and started building long-term wealth. Every investment had a 10-year minimum timeline. While other celebrities were doing endorsement deals for immediate cash, LeBron was buying ownership stakes in companies that wouldn't pay off for a decade. By 2022, the results were undeniable. His $6.5 million investment in Liverpool was worth over $40 million. Spring Hill Entertainment signed a $300 million deal with Netflix. Blaze Pizza was valued at over $500 million. His crypto investments were worth more than his entire NBA salary. Forbes announced what basketball fans couldn't believe. LeBron James was officially worth over $1 billion. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. The twist? Basketball was never the real plan. Every game, every championship, every highlight reel moment, it was all building towards something bigger. LeBron had been using basketball as a 20-year marketing campaign for his real business empire. The $1 billion everyone celebrates? That's just what they can see publicly. The real number is hidden in private investments that won't be revealed for another decade. Shell companies registered in Delaware, international partnerships that bypass American tax laws, technology startups that don't even have names yet. Here's what's terrifying. LeBron James has been following a blueprint that only 3 other people in history have successfully executed. Walt Disney did it with entertainment, Sam Walton did it with retail, Steve Jobs did it with technology. All 3 became the richest people of their generation. All 3 completely changed how money works in America. But there's one final move LeBron hasn't made yet. One last investment that will either make him the richest athlete who ever lived, or destroy everything he's built in the past 20 years. The decision deadline is March 15, 2024. The clock is ticking, and based on what happened to the last person who tried this exact same strategy, LeBron James might be about to make the biggest mistake of his life.